Hello, future travelers. Welcome back to Legalopolis. Friends, are you planning to visit the United States or stay there for some time? Here's something you must understand: the difference between your visa's expiry date and your I-94's expiry date. Confused? Don't worry, you are not alone. Whether you are on an H-1B, L-1, F-1, or B-1, B-2 visa, understanding how these dates work is absolutely essential. So let's break it down together and let's get started. Now, what does your visa expiration date means? Your visa, which is stamped or attached to your passport, acts as permission to request entry into the United States. It's issued by a US consular officer after reviewing your application, and it specifies the purpose of your visit. However, a visa does not guarantee entry. It simply allows you to travel to a US port of entry, such as an airport, seaport, or land border crossing, where a Customs and Border Protection officer will decide if you can enter and for how long. The expiry date on your visa marks the final day you are allowed to use this visa to travel to a United States port of entry, but not the length of time you're allowed to stay in the United States. Then the question is, what is I-94 form? Friends, the I-94 form is your official record of entry into the United States, and it's equally, if not more, critical. When you arrive at a US port of entry, a CBP officer will stamp your passport or issue a digital I-94 record that shows your authorized length of stay. This is recorded as either a specific date or as D/S, that means duration of status. For students, exchange visitors, or certain employment-based visa holders, duration of status means that you can stay as long as you maintain the conditions of your visa. For example, studying or working within the program's terms. If a specific date is listed on your I-94, then that's the deadline you have to leave the United States. Overstaying this date can lead to serious consequences even if your visa is still valid for entry. So the key takeaway is your I-94 controls how long you can stay and not your visa. So the key difference between visa and I-94 is that visa expiry date is the last day you can use your visa to enter the United States. So if your visa is, say, expiring on 31st of December 2025, you can travel to the US port of entry like the airport and request admission into the United States. On the other hand, I-94 date is the date which is the official deadline for leaving the United States set by CBP officer at the port of entry. This date is decided by the officer at the airport after a brief interview with you, and this is the last date for you to depart the United States. Now let's understand the consequences of overstaying and exceptions. Now friends, if you stay beyond your I-94 date, even if your visa is valid, your visa automatically becomes void. Exceptions apply only if you filed a valid application for an extension, change of status, or adjustment of status, for example, applying for a green card. In these cases, your application must not be frivolous, it must be pending approval. Always ensure you follow these rules to avoid penalties for future bans. Let's summarize with the help of an example. Let's assume that you have a tourist visa, that is a B2 visa, that is valid until 31st of December 2030. This means that you can use this visa to enter the US at any time on or before 31st of December 2030. But it does not mean you can stay in the US until December 2030. Now let's say you fly to the US on 11th of December 2024. At the airport, the CBP officer reviews your documents and gives you an I-94 form with an admit until date of March 10th, 2025. This means that you are allowed to stay in the US until 10th of March 2025, even though your visa is valid until 31st of December 2030. However, if you stay after March 10th, 2025, you'll be violating your legal stay in the United States even if you have a valid visa for entry into the United States, and this could result in penalties or bans on future travel. So the key takeaways from this example are: the visa expiration date, that is the last date you can enter the US, is 31st of December 2030. And the admit until date, that is the deadline for leaving US, is 10th of March 2025. So friends, in conclusion, your visa's expiration date is always about your entry into the United States, while your I-94's date controls your duration of stay and the last day when you have to depart the United States. Make sure to always check both these dates to be informed. Plan wisely so that you can enjoy your time in the United States. So friends, if you found this video helpful, do consider subscribing for more immigration related content. I wish you all the very best for your upcoming visa interview. May your application be met with success, and until next time, safe travels!